Mangwana ni malelepo vukenjani. Klekwasa dumelang vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, your news and current affairs show, bringing you the most potent stories from the continent. These are some of the top stories from today's broadcast. South Africa urges restraint and dialogue amid rising Middle East tensions. Kenya condemns Middle East strikes and calls for urgent multilateral engagement. Kenyan MP Johana Ng'eno among 6 killed in Nandi County helicopter crash. People living with HIV call for honest language on cure research. Fraser Institute survey ranks Africa's most attractive mining jurisdictions. And Vodafone partners with Amazon Leo to connect remote mobile masts. DSTV285 GOTV 25WhatsApp2.com and Network Media Hub, as well as NTV Afrika and NTVAFRIKA.MY.NA are where you can watch the show. My name is Ashwin Berry. Top stories shortly.
Join us every weekday evening for the Evening Review as we unpack the issues shaping Namibia. From politics and economics to culture and community life, our team delivers sharp analysis, expert insights, and conversations with Namibians across society. It's not just the headlines, it's the full picture. Stay informed and engaged with the Evening Review.
All right, let's get into the top stories, and we start with the conflict in the Middle East. President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa has expressed deep concern over escalating tensions in the Middle East, warning that the situation threatens regional and international peace and security with far-reaching humanitarian, diplomatic, and economic consequences. President Ramaphosa called on all parties to exercise maximum restraint and act in accordance with international law, international humanitarian law, and the principles of the United Nations Charter. He cited Article 51 of the UN Charter, which permits self-defense only in cases of armed invasion, stating that anticipatory self-defense is not allowed under international law and cannot be based on assumption, emphasizing that military confrontation has never delivered sustainable peace or resolved underlying grievances. He reiterated that political problems require diplomatic solutions. President Ramaphosa urged intensified diplomatic efforts, mediation, and meaningful negotiations, calling on the international community and multilateral institutions to redouble efforts toward peaceful resolution. He said South Africa remains steadfast in its belief that peace is imperative for the shared future of the Middle East and the world. Now, while President Cyril Ramaphosa points fingers to the situation, President William Ruto of Kenya points fingers to Iran. President William Ruto has condemned recent strikes on the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Oman, Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain, warning that the escalating conflict poses a serious threat to international peace and security. In a statement, he stressed the need for engagement, saying Kenya strongly condemns the strikes in the evolving Middle East conflict. He cautioned the regionalization risks destabilizing both the Middle East and the broader international order. Describing the moment as defining and perilous in global history, President Ruto underscored the importance of long-standing multilateral institutions in resolving the crisis and called for urgent multi-stakeholder engagement toward de-escalation. Guidance was issued to Kenyan nationals in Iran, Israel, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Iraq, advising extreme caution and avoidance of non-essential travel near high-risk areas. Citizens were urged to comply with local security instructions, monitor official communications, and register with the nearest Kenyan embassy or consulate for timely updates and emergency assistance. The Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs said it is closely monitoring developments and remains in contact with diplomatic missions across the region. And now we move to a harrowing domestic update, still with Kenya. A member of parliament was among the 6 people killed when a helicopter crashed in Kenya in what police described as bad weather. The aircraft went down minutes after takeoff and burst into flames in a hilly area of Nandi County in western Kenya, according to Police Chief Samuel Mukusi, who confirmed that all 6 people on board died. Among the deceased was lawmaker Johana Ng'eno. Mukusi said investigations into the cause of the crash had begun. Kenya's Civil Aviation Authority had yet to comment on the incident. Parliament Speaker Moses Wetangula eulogized Ng'eno as a devoted legislator and a committed servant of the people. The 54-year-old was serving his 3rd term in Parliament and had been re-elected in 2022 on a ruling party ticket. More than 4 decades into the HIV epidemic, researchers continue to pursue sustained remission while acknowledging that a complete cure remains elusive. The global network of people living with HIV Cure Desk hosted discussions on pediatric cure research, ethical considerations, and the role of PLHIV in shaping priorities. Dr. Gabriela Kromhout leads the Umwaningo Labantwana cohort in KwaZulu-Natal, following mothers and babies where transmission occurred in utero, enrolling children from birth with early treatment aimed at achieving ART-free remission rather than eradication. She emphasized that children are not little adults and that early treatment may limit viral reservoirs. Ethical complexities include consent, assent, and disclosure within family units. Nomonde Ngema highlighted the importance of honest language around HIV cure research to avoid false expectations. While prevention advances such as a twice-yearly lenacapavir are hailed as breakthroughs, researchers maintain that prevention and cure efforts are parallel tracks within a comprehensive response. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. Shortly, we'll be joined by Talent Gore as she delivers the Zimbabwe report. Stay with us. All right, it's time for us to be joined by Talent Gore as she delivers the Zimbabwe report. Talent, you have some comprehensive updates for us. I will not be interrupting you, so please do go through all your updates as indeed they are potent and important.
Mamkase Africa. So the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe on Friday unveiled redesigned ZiG banknotes, but the governor, John Mshayavano, moved to dampen speculations that the country is edging closer to a return to a monocurrency regime. A new family of $10 ZiG notes, $20 ZiG notes, and 50 ZiG notes will enter circulation on April 7 with 100 ZiG notes and 200 denominations to follow later at a later date. Although the central bank had previously set 2030 as a target for ending Zimbabwe's multi-currency system, Dr. Mshayavano said in his 2026 monetary policy statement that the transition would no longer be tied to a fixed date. In his own words, he said the transition to the exclusive use of ZIG for settling all domestic transactions will be a gradual process anchored on macroeconomic stability. As such, the transition is not date-based, but is dependent on the achievement of the conditions precedent. In a move aimed at easing the cost of doing business, Dr. Mshayavanu ordered sweeping reductions in banking charges, including the scrapping of fees for balance inquiries and cash deposits. The directive also applies to mobile network operators offering financial services. Banks were instructed to cap cash withdrawal charges both over the counter and at automated teller machines at a maximum of 2% of the withdrawal amount, down from down from levels approaching 4%. Point of sale transaction fees were set at a maximum of 1.5% of the transaction value for both local and international cards, capped at 20 United States dollars or ZIG equivalent. So at the moment, we have since noticed that the Zimbabwean gold has maintained its current has maintained some sort of stability. The rate has maintained at 32, which means that $1 is equal to 32 ZIG. So this has been the case for months now, and Dr. Mshayavani has said that we are going to maintain this and see how best we can move from a multi-currency regime, because currently Zimbabwe is a multi-currency regime. We use the Zimbabwean gold, we use the United States dollar, we use the rand, the pula. Each and every currency is accepted in Zimbabwe, but the preferred one is United States dollar, followed up by the rand. So the governor said that it's going to be gradual to move from a multi-currency regime. And there were also other monetary policies that we introduced. Banks charges we brought down from 4% to 2% when one is withdrawing, and also for deposits and point of sale machines. So this is quite a welcome move, and most of Zimbabwean right now, they are quite happy with the currency. As you know, we have had the highest of inflation over the past years, but as of now, our inflation has been going down bit by bit, and citizens, they are quite happy with what is going on at the moment. And in my next story, Zimbabwe senior doctors have urged the government to reopen talks with the United States after negotiations of a proposed bilateral health funding agreement collapsed, warning that the aberrant loss of American support could carry serious human costs. The United States Embassy in Harare said on Tuesday it was winding down health assistance to Zimbabwe after President Emmerson Mnangagwa ordered officials to withdraw from the negotiations on a memorandum of understanding which promised 367 million United States dollars in support. The Zimbabwe College of Public Health Physicians, the country's leading professional body for public health specialists, said the timing of the breakdown was particularly worrying given Zimbabwe's continued reliance on external funding for key components of its health system. While acknowledging progress made by the government in recent years, the college cautioned against a sudden withdrawal of support. Zimbabwe has recruited more nurses and frontline health workers, strengthening primarily healthcare delivery, and achieved the UNAIDS 95 HIV targets. Officials said the agreement, or government officials say that the agreement would have granted the United States extensive access to Zimbabwe's health data over an agreed period, a provision Harare viewed as an intelligent overreach. The US offer also linked health cooperation access to critical mineral resources. Government spokesperson Nick Mangwana said Zimbabwe valued its long-standing relationship with the United States, but insisted any partnership must be equitable. So, the president has actually withdrawn, has told officials to withdraw from the memorandum of understanding that was going on agreement that was going on between the United States and Zimbabwe, whereby the United States had promised 367 million United States dollars funding within the health sector. But apparently, we are not really sure as to what the MOU was saying. No one has seen the memorandum of understanding to see why the government has decided to withdraw from such from that funding. But the citizens, apparently citizens here, they are quite happy that the government has taken that stance, and they are now the major concern is if the government will actually be able to fund the health sector, because the Zimbabwe's health sector depended heavily on United States of America. So now we need the government to come in and actually fund the health sector and not depend on donors, because the health sector was heavily dependent on donors. So now we're just going to be seeing how the government is going to react to this and how much they are willing to put within the health sector. So, and in my last story, prominent lawyer and opposition leader Professor Love Momaduku was brutally beaten on Sunday after balaclava wearing men stormed a meeting of his National Constitution Assembly NAC party in Harare, with uniformed police officers looking on from two nearby vehicles without intervening. Well, this was said by Professor Maduku. He alleges that police were there. They were actually looking on when all of this was happening. And Maduku, who is currently receiving treatment at an undisclosed hospital in the capital, removed his shirt to show journalists a body scarred by blows from baton stick. He said, "I just have pain all over my body, but I'm okay." Maduku described what unfolded. He said that he had called an NCA consultative meeting of the leadership from across the country, and they were at their offices. They wanted to look at the constitutional amendment number 3, and they wanted to confirm their stance that they are opposed to the Constitution Amendment number 3, and that they would do everything to stop it. He said that he alleges that the police was there for most of the time. The 5 or so guys came in with the balaclavas and ordered everyone to leave. They then came straight for Maduku and started beating him up. He said he alleges that they were shouting that you want to create problem for us. They were beating him all over with baton stick, and the police were with them. In a statement, the police said they were not involved in the incident and no police personnel were deployed to oversee or monitor the meeting in question. The ZRP is keen to know what actually transpired on the alleged attack on Professor Madugu and his team. Well, this was said by the National Police spokesperson, who said that they are not aware of the incident. The police was not at the scene as alleged by Professor Love Momadugu, and currently they are doing investigations to get to the bottom of whatever happened. They want to know, they are interested in knowing what really happened to Professor Madugu and his team. So some investigations are taking place right now. So that is all in my report. So we're just going to be doing a follow-up to see how the police is going to react to this and what their investigations are going to reveal.
Thank you very much, Talent, for that truly comprehensive report from Zimbabwe. We'll certainly be looking towards updates. It seems things are really coming to a head, particularly when we look at what's happening in the political space. But thank you for joining us, Talent.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
It's always good having you on Africa. Good morning. From me, Ashwin Betty, I'm going to start saying goodbye. Thank you for joining us on DSTV285 GOTV 25 oneup2.com, Network Media Hub, as well as NTVAFRIKA.MY.NA and NTV Afrika on YouTube. That Africa is spelled with a K. You can ask me why later. Tomorrow we return and Rorisang Mohojwe comes to deliver the Botswana report. We know last week there were some potent updates, including Botswana committing 1 billion pula just to save the diamond trade. So it's going to be updates from that and other stories from Gaborone. And of course, we'll make sure we give you the top headlines from across the continent. As we say, Swera Jakanaka, here are the economic indicators.